Morning, sweetheart. All the chatter this morning. A little bit upset yesterday after I stopped filming the ducks. Um, I left it with one of the females. It might have been this one. I'm not sure. I got a feeling it was the other one, but yeah, I think it might have been that one. And the males were all hassling him, and the poor thing, she's terrified. Some of the ducks handle it a lot better than others. Some, maybe the younger, more inexperienced ones, they get absolutely terrified. And she was kind of terrified. She was sitting behind me, looking for protection, and she's kind of shrieking as they're coming over and around her. And you can tell what's on their mind. You can tell they're very honed in on what they want. And she kind of hid behind me for a while, and I kind of gesture the male ducks away from her. But and as long as she stays calm, she's kind of all right. But once she starts to panic, that's when they kind of that's when they can panic her into sort of running off somewhere, and then they will get her. Um, it's maybe the first time I saw it happen, I just left it. I didn't know what was going on. Um, and then other times I've thought, is that the actual breeding pattern? Is she okay with it, kind of thing? And sometimes I think they're okay with it. Sometimes when they're in control, they will initiate these like runs where they'll go off on flights, and all the males will fly in formation, and whoever can stay up with it and whoever can bank with her the quickest, who has the best stamina, who can keep up with her, that's who she's kind of interviewing as the strongest male. So she literally wants, the strongest male that's going to look after her. And I mean, who can blame her? Do you know what I mean? So this guy's doing his job. He's kind of chasing off the other males. But what'll often happen is a lot of the other males, and sometimes the other males are stronger. So you would think, well, does she want the strongest genes? You know, but I think often she has a interview process and then she selects a male. But sometimes the males will try and force her. And yesterday, if it was this one, she was very terrified, um, really sort of panicked beside herself, and she kind of hid. And I kind of managed to, fend off for a good 5 or 10 minutes. But eventually, like even my presence, I mean, I think these guys have begun to get to know me a little bit. They're not too worried about me. You know, and even if I'm kind of putting my hand out in an aggressive gesture, they kind of, when they're honed in on the female, they're not that worried, and they kind of just, they'll pause for a bit, but they'll just keep working their way around me. And yesterday, once I stopped filming, they kind of all started going in for her. And even though she was right next to me, they kind of still went for her. And I managed to get hold of one of the male ducks. I kind of grabbed him by the back of his neck, and then I kind of pinned him down and just kind of like held his wings in. Um, but then another two kind of went after her, and that panicked her, and off she flew. And then they all chased after her. So you know that was her experience after that. Um, And you think, you think these are animals, so you kind of think, well, they're just animals, but it's really terrible. I mean, what a terrible experience, and some of these female ducks, and I've spoken to the guys about it. I've thought, am I just being a bit soft here? But I've spoken to the guys about it, and other guys do the same thing. They're, and it tends to be the guys who notice it the most, and maybe because we know what's happening. We kind of get what's going on. Women often just seem to think they're fighting or something, but men, we kind of say, we're like, yeah, we know what's going on right there. Um, and it's really horrific, the way these guys treat the women. And I'm not like I'm not one of these feminist idiots or anything like that. I'm just down for just basic decency to men, to women, to everybody. Um, and I think sometimes we become so focused on what we want that we can hurt other people around us, and we don't realize the impact of that. We don't realize the impact of that on uh, on young female ducks, on young male ducks. And life's very cruel. Life's very cruel. It's very beautiful, but it's also very cruel. And what's the answer to that? Like, do you stay away from everything? Do you become cruel yourself? Do you decide that the world is going to take from me, so better if I'm the one doing the taking? Do you try and just be decent? But fly just flew in my eye. Do you try and be decent and hold, but just hold your boundaries? That thing's in my eye somewhere. Well, I'm sure it's dead in there. Hopefully. Um, yeah, and it kept playing in my mind the way she was kind of like cowering behind me, like shrieking almost, and I'm telling him, just calm down, just you're okay. And the more she stays calm, the better chance she's got. And is that the case for all of us? Just the calmer we stay, the more carefully we think things through. I was thinking about it, but the females will still come over here. But I mean, I guess this is where the food is. This is where all the feeding happens. Some of the females will actually disappear. They'll go up or down the river, they'll have chicks and they'll take them away, or they'll go off, stay off with their males. And I guess they'll work a bit harder in finding their own food. So I guess that's the answer, isn't it? If you want to stay out of the sort of the mainstream situation, you got to find your own food. You got to find your own resources and things. You got to rely upon yourself a lot more. You got to stay away from the main pack. And I mean, what are these fellas? I mean, they look terrible at the moment. They're all losing their winter coats. I mean, look at the clip of them. They look like they're being dragged through a bloody toxic oil slip or something. But give them a little while and they'll be beautiful. Look, they're starting to hassle the female again already. She's taken up position behind me. She knows that that's a relatively safe place. The problem I get is I sometimes don't identify her male, so I can sometimes keep him at bay. But he's sort of a first line of defense, really. So I've got to be careful not to do that. I'll try and remember what he looks like. Um, sort of slightly fading color on the beak, mostly brown breast, sort of summer fellas coming in at the front. Sorry, that's the one I'm looking at. Yeah, it's very hard to identify these guys. But look, this guy's looking. He's like, oh, I might have a go. I might get up there and have a go. And quite often, some of these individual males can take the individual um, breeding partner male. So he might actually be able to take him. So sometimes the male has to actually move away as well. Sometimes I try and distract those ones with a bit of food. Ah, here's a guy who had the bad foot. How you doing, son? You want some seed? Let me feed you, but spread it out a little bit so they don't all crowd you. But I think he's doing a bit better. I thought he was missing the end of his toe, but I don't think he is. Maybe it was just a bit turned over. And he's definitely able to bear a little bit more weight on that foot, but he still can't take the full weight. Mhm. Look at this little doll fighting. Give me some food. Uh, yeah, they're already hustling her a little bit this morning. But yeah, like I wonder why they bother coming round here. Poor thing. Yeah. So look at that. 7 a.m. in the morning, already getting having a potential train run on you. It's rough. It's rough for these girls out here. Competition, man. Such a hard thing, isn't it? You've got genetic competition between these, all fighting to pass on the genes. And if they don't do that, their DNA, their lineage dies out, and that's it. Maybe part of it survives in their brothers or the other family members and things. But that's what's at stake for them. It's almost like a life and death situation. So, they're prepared to hurt a female duck or two to hopefully make that happen. I don't think our genetics gives a shit about suffering. I think it's all just about propagation, survival. I don't even think it gives a shit how much the individual, the owner of those genes, if that's how you would phrase it. I don't even think they give a shit of how much that person survives. Who is dominant? Um, well, the males are dominant. Right at the peak of breeding season, and once the females have like chicks and stuff like that, like sometimes they can become a bit dominant. But in terms of which of these males is dominant, like I don't know, their coats have all changed for the summer, so I can't even really recognize them. Um, but you can kind of watch it. Like although this guy here is quite injured, I think he's probably quite dominant. Um, and you can just watch it by the behaviors. So look, see these two, see how this one isn't moving out of the way. That suggests they're on a similar sort of like hierarchy level. But if a duck moves towards another duck and the other duck moves out the way, then you generally know that first duck is more dominant. So they will basically just get out of each other's way. And depending on how much of a difference in hierarchy, they will they may slowly get out of the way if there's just a very slight physical difference. But if there's a touch water, I donate super chat. What do you want me to touch the water for? Um, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, what else do you want me to do? Jump off the bridge? How much would you super chat me for jumping off the bridge? But yeah, like in the peak of breeding season, you'll see a lot more of the dominant attitude. I think we're coming towards the tail end of the breeding season. I think it's more or less finished, but it's still, they're still going after that female, aren't they? But I don't know, maybe they do that all year round. But look at this coat. Look at this beautiful coat coming in. Look at the feathers. It's so pretty. Yeah. Mhm. These guys love hand feeding. Like once you get their trust, because they can just, picking them up one at a time off the ground takes a lot of time for them. You just give them a handful, you know, they can get a lot of food in a short amount of time. And these seeds are full of energy for them, full of omegas and stuff. Good quality food. Let's see. Some will feed from me, some won't. Come on, buddy. There you go. And I kind of hold the food in the way. I kind of nip my back finger so it doesn't fall out the back. Yeah, look, you see that one? He's still got his full summer coat. But look how beautiful that is. It's like looks like he's on an Arctic expedition when you compare him to some of the others. Wonder what determines how quickly they lose their coat. It's got to be genetics, hasn't it? Just it's got to be genetics, hasn't it? Yeah, some North rain. I know that does not qualify as a conversation starter. Sorry. Fuck, man, you got to protect yourself from people. Pisses me off a lot, actually, now when people start trying to start fucking stupid conversations with me. You used to always see old people. My grandma was crazy. Hmm. Fuck, man. People would start talking to her. She just told them to piss off straight away. Even people sitting next to her on the bus, she just said, "Do not talk to me." I'm a long way from that, but it's funny as you get older how you just can't be bothered with people, or you can tell straight away who's worth talking to and who isn't. And I don't mean that in a quality way. Just who's on your level. And we all got levels. I'm probably near the bottom somewhere, but come here, buddy. Oh, this guy's got some fishing line caught on his legs. It's not too tangled. I'm sure it'll probably come off easily. I don't think it's worth grabbing him to try and get it. Yeah, that's gonna come off. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, it's so fine the fishing line, you can't really see it. I've never actually seen one of these guys tied up with a fishing line, so I don't think it's much of an issue for them. Yeah, just let's give them some more food. I think it goes well. It goes well on the bank here. It's easier for them to pick it up. It's on a flat surface. When you're putting it on the deck and it kind of goes in the little rivets and things, it's harder for them to pick it out. They'll still get it, I guess, but it takes a bit longer for them. Yeah, this guy it looks like I said, he looks like it's been in a toxic oil slip. Anyway, the female's gone upriver and she stayed gone. I don't blame her. I probably would if I was her. Come down, find yourself a good mate, do your flight interviews, your flight checks, get a good one, and then stay up or down river. These motherfuckers are brutal. Oh, there's a squirrel. Wow, first time I've seen a squirrel down here. Went up in a tree and on it. We'll see. It was around the back. Oh yeah, it's up. Yeah, it's climbing up. Don't know if you see it. It's climbing up that far branch. Yeah. Well, first. I mean, there's plenty of squirrels around here, but that's the first time I've seen a squirrel down here. Hey, wouldn't that be nice? So far, I've been able to hand feed the rats, the ducks, the swans when they were still here. I think they're long gone. Um, Squirrel, that'll be interesting. Jackdaw. Morning.
Hey, you right?
Hi, how are you doing?
Not bad.
Are you working the day?
It's like it's not up there.
Not worth it, is it? Aye.
We've had a good week, behind you.
Well, they said that last week was going to be good, but they said from Monday this week was going to be bad. Like so, but I mean, at least you had the half term with it, you know. So
Summer, we've had a good week.
you have a good week. Oh, I'm pleased for you. Good stuff.
Get a segment for this week. So that doesn't cross the signs. A lot of people can pass the signs.
What are you going to say? Pay attention to the sign further down.
Do not pass the danger signs.
Aye. Yep. What do you think the danger is? Could they actually?
The waterfall.
Yeah, I know that's there, but do you think could they actually be like pulled towards it, or
If it's windy, they could drift
oh,
that behind.
could it really? Aye, and then they're into it.
One woman got oars, they drift that towards the waterfall.
Aye. Not like they're going to pay for the off to lose it, like other. Needs a good paint that bridge, didn't it?
Oh,
Aye, take it easy. Ah, you know, even sitting here on a rainy morning, beautiful. Best place, best place. You know, if you don't already do it, get out in nature. Get somewhere where there's some wildlife. Brilliant. There's some amazing places, you know, up in the north of England, Northumberland. Got some great places, great coastal routes, and such a hidden gem. Let's give these boys some more food. Yeah, so somebody was asking before about dominance. You can kind of see who the more dominant birds are. Like, I mean, if there's a fight, you'll see it. But the ones that are just kind of sitting there and don't move too much, they tend to be a little bit more dominant. and they'll often get a more prominent position by the feeding spot. Well, buddy. But these guys can clean up a lot of food quite quick. You know, I can come and feed them 2, 3 kilos of food, and they'll still eat more. Yeah, I like these girls. They're lovely. I really didn't like them at first. Very aggressive, very shrieky. Oh, here comes the female again. She's heard probably heard the cries of feeding, but immediately the ducks are sort of turning towards her. Let's make sure there's lots of food here. And unfortunately, I think that's a problem for her. The lure of the food is sometimes too strong, and it pulls her in, and that can get her into trouble. Come on, just feed your belly and then get out of there, love. That would be my advice. Yeah, that female in particular, she she's getting a little bit more experience now, but I'm not sure if this was one of her sort of first mating seasons, and she used to get absolutely hammered. Now it looks she had a different partner before, and he had a like a blue beak, I think, which is a sign of lost pigmentation. You know, you got one there, for example. I don't know if that's like an age thing or if it's just a genetic thing. But he was no good at protecting her at all. He tried, but they would jump on her 12 at a time, and he would try to pull them off, and they'd almost just ignore him. But yeah, she's got herself a stronger mate there, you know. So I think I think there's a lot of stuff in the sort of manosphere red. I don't think anybody disagrees with women wanting the strongest men they can get. You know, I don't think anybody disagrees with the logic of that. I think there's a lot of resentment, especially for men of less physical stature or character. And of course, they're going to resent that because you know they want to breed, they want a girlfriend the same as anybody else. But if you can't protect a woman, it's you may be the best choice for her in all other aspects, but if you can't protect her, she's vulnerable. And that one there, you can see, like she's got a little divot in the back of her head, and that's because all the feathers have been pulled out of her head. So at one point that was completely bald. So they'll all grab her by the back of the head and then do their thing, and they'll run a train on her, 12 one after the other, and I don't think it's a very pleasant. But I think that she is actually a different female than the one that was here before. And she used to actually get the absolute brunt of it. And I think like she used to get absolutely hammered. Poor thing. I felt so sorry for her. But she, as I said, she had a much weaker mate. It might have even been this guy. Maybe that's why he's hanging around close. I'm not sure. But he couldn't protect her, and he couldn't. The other males weren't scared of him, and he would try and pull them off, or sometimes he would just wait until they were finished, and then kind of get back with her. Um, but then either another male challenged, either this one challenged and took her away, or he maybe he just left and moved away, which left an opening. Um, but her life is going to be substantially different because she has a stronger male around her. So she is now in the midst of these 10 or 20 males. Unmolested. She's able just to come down here and feed. Now, it doesn't mean she's invulnerable. At some point, if these guys all get in their head, or if she panics, and that's when they go for it. They try to goad her. They try to goad her into panicking, and then once that happens, she's in trouble. And some of these situations can last for 10, 20 minutes, of probably in her mind pure terror. But look, she's really gained her strength, and she's even challenging the males away now. She's a lot more confident, and I'm really pleased for her. You know, whether male or female, we're all people. We're all humans, or these guys, they're all ducks. And nobody deserves to suffer, male or female, you know. And I think a lot of people may have negative feelings towards females, and a lot of people may have, and a lot of women these days, especially, have a lot of negative feelings towards males. But ultimately, everybody's just trying to get by. Everybody's trying to uh, find connection if that's what they want, or breed, or you know, uh, I think a lot of people try and lean on each other, and I think that's where a lot of the trouble comes in. I think you've got to be solid in yourself and whole in yourself, and I think ideally you want to find a partner who's the same, and then your skill sets and things complement each other. Mm. Something just popped in my mind this morning, just something random and silly. But wow, look how big he is. He's a big boy. You're a big boy, aren't you? Hmm? You are a big boy. Ducks are relatively similar size, but sometimes you see one that's a bit of a beast. He's a big boy. Oh, little rat popping it up. You need some food as well. Yeah. Yeah, just something random keeps popping in my head. But and I'm wondering why, but it's just something really silly. But it's I kind of I kind of sorted out a few small things around my house this morning. Real silly, but I ordered some bathroom mats that color coordinate with my house. And I'm kind of pleased about it, because it kind of solves a small problem. Like I'm kind of in my bathroom, and then I see this mat which just totally doesn't coordinate with the room. And it keeps popping in my mind, probably for about a year or 2 years. I'm like, yeah, I should probably change that. And eventually, I just went online and ordered something. I didn't really have the patience to see how what it was, but I just ordered something that color matched, good quality cotton, rather than some of these shitty microfibers and stuff like that, which we have no idea what they're doing to us. I ordered that, and then I sorted out some cable tidying around my TV and appliances and things. And it's funny how happy something like that can make you. No, not because of the purchase or anything like that, but because it solves a little problem for you. It's just something that niggles away in your mind, just a small thing, but a small thing niggling at you for a period of years just kind of drains you. It takes up some of your bandwidth. So I think sometimes just solving these little problems, okay, that's a little problem solved. And again, Fight Club keeps popping into my mind, and I forget what said Norton's actor called again. So you got Tyler Durden. I need to buy that movie and watch it again. Edward Norton. What's his character called? Anyway, but he talks about the IKEA nesting thing where he gets all the little furniture. And he finally solves it, and he finally felt as if he'd solved his whole flat kind of situation. He had all the right pieces of furniture in the right places, and and then it got blew up, probably by his alter ego Tyler Durden. And then he moves into that Paper Street Company abandoned building or whatever, and everything's a complete shithole. But he's actually happier there, you know. So what's that about? That we don't really need decent things. I mean, I've lived places, I've lived abroad and stuff, and you know, I've lived in the most basic of amenities, and you get yourself. So I guess it's all a matter of perspective. How much does that shit really matter? I don't know. Kind of makes me feel a bit happy about myself. Having all my cables tidied away. I got a eight ordered an HDMI splitter and different cabinet and stuff, and worked out how to hide the cables behind the TV and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, makes me feel better about myself. Makes me. I don't have to worry about that shit anymore. I can think about some other things. Yeah, I like these guys. I like these jackdaws. They're lovely. Really nice. The ducks aren't too bothered by them. They seem to just coexist very nicely. Very sleek, very elegant birds. Very streamlined compared to these fat ass ducks. You know, but horses for courses. They're built for different purposes. But look at that. Look how wonderful that is. Just three species of birds just coexisting. No problems. You know, tiny bit of tussle, but these jackdaws don't really cause too many problems. Really beautiful. Hey, son, how you doing? Wow, wow. Just looking at the coat of the jackdaw there, and you can see the as you get closer, the some of the feathers on the wing kind of shimmer like a dark navy blue kind of thing. Yeah, but I think there's a lot to be said for solving small problems that just niggle at you. Sometimes they take a lot of thought. A small problem takes a lot of thought. And what is that in me? You know, not having the right color bath mat and having all my cables all messed up and hanging loose and stuff. You know, what is that from me? Is that attention to detail? Is that, you know, job completion, you know, completing a job to a high level, not just getting the meat and bones, the meat done, you know, but you know, really getting the fine touches, the final presentation. And I think, yeah, that probably rings true for me. So I think there's parallels in anything that's going on. So it's not just, I mean, I don't really give a shit about bath mats or cables, but I think it does, it demonstrates attention to detail. Ah, I'm waffling again, which is a good sign. I don't have too much on my mind. I have probably a single problem professionally. just dealing with, office politics, relationships, things like that. But I've roughly worked out my strategy. Just standing my ground, not giving a fuck, doing my thing, prepared to walk. I'll do what I want to do. I'll do what I think is the right thing for the organization. That's no good. Get rid of me. Be my pleasure. I've got some other shit I want to work on anyway. But I like dipping in and out of roles, gaining the experience from them, leveling up, interacting with people. It's a great thing. I like to dip in and out for a period. I like to have a good project for a while and then step out and reflect and work on my own projects. And I find I do that in life. I kind of have real solid stints where I go at it and then I kind of pull back for a while, retreat, consider, evaluate, improve, decide which direction I really want to go in, understand which direction the world's going in and how I'm going to navigate that. And that's the thing, you kind of got to, you can't just ignore the world. I don't think you have to be absorbed by it, but I think you've got to roughly pay attention to the which way the wind is blowing. And I think you've got to think carefully about your strategy. And I think my strategy, I keep sometimes I keep getting drawn back into the mainstream life and rat race. There's always a pull for me back to that to compete, but it's a never-ending competition. It's not a race you're ever gonna win. Even right at the top, you know, you got a lot of those elite people. Elite people. Are they so much more elite than us? Are they really? Are they really more elite, or do they have better connections and opportunities? Some of them clearly are operating on a different level. Yeah, I don't know. Or they're just more ruthless and have a greater work rate, or are able to manipulate more people to bend to their will. Are they more empty than the rest of us that they have to do that? I don't know. That's their business, I guess. But yeah, it's a never-ending competition, even at that level. But I think once you can bow out of that, obviously you've got to hit the practicalities. But once you can bow out of that, and you can do your own thing, I think that's when you start to win in life. And when you start to follow the things that matter to you, because what matters to you doesn't necessarily matter to other people. And, and it doesn't have to. You just have to follow your own dreams, your own internal compass. Yeah, I don't think I have too much more to say today. Yeah, so in terms of dominance, as you can see, I think that's the big guy that I saw before. So he chased off three of the ducks. No competition at all. They understand straight away that he will kick their ass. The thing I kind of like about the male ducks, they're not they're not really looking to sort of like bully and stuff the other ducks. They are just looking to sort of stand their ground, defend their territory. Yeah, so obviously she's picked a good male there. So even against another fairly dominant male, he can stand his ground against that one. So looks like she's got herself. What Oh, this is a different female from the one before. So this may be the alpha pair. But you can see other males will come and challenge her all the time, and he'll have to fend them off. He's not too worried. He's not too bothered. He's just kind of loosely letting him know. He just goes in, see if there's any opportunity there. And he just reminds them that there is currently no opportunity here for you, son. But he's a confident male. He's not panicking. He's not entering into a straight fight or anybody who comes. He's just letting them know. Don't bother, man. Don't bother trying. But you'll see as this one gets closer to this one, he'll move him off. There you go. Yep, off you go, Sonny. You're getting too close to my female. Same thing again. If this one gets too close, he's getting close to you, buddy. You better. Yep, there you go. He's moved off. Yeah, it's nice to see how confident and calm she is. I've got no problem with the ducks challenging each other. And if somebody wants to come and kick his ass and take his female, I have no problem with that. But I hate to see where they're just hassling the female. So you can understand why women in our society, because it's not the same. She's not going to get she's not going to get done over by 12 men if she doesn't have a strong boyfriend. But I think, she's going to get pressured a lot. She could get pressured into situations she doesn't want to be. So you can't blame women for partnering up with strong men. Love and character compatibility is one thing, but there's the basics. There's the basic requirements: protection, provision. Okay, so they're all making a beeline for that female. So that's probably her partner. But look, they're all going over to challenge now. So that is a weaker pair than these pairs. So you see how these don't get hassled, but already you got three males going after. Now they're probably a fairly strong couple. So they're not too panicked. Something's squeaking like mad. Obviously a little rat under there. I don't know what's happening to it. Yeah, I just had a bit of squeaking and running under the floorboards. So obviously that's I don't know, maybe a little altercation between them. Anyway, I think we'll call it there.